ยอดเยี่ยมมากเลย เดี๋ยวรอเพื่อนอีกแป๊บนึงนะแน่มากันอย่างพร้อมเพรียง so today you will starting with the our own topic that you selected already let's see maybe Fong you are the group number 1 right so let's start you
ครับ
share the screen please
ครับ
ครับผม
อาจารย์เห็นสกรีนไหมครับ
เห็นลูกชัดเจน
ครับ
แป๊บหนึ่งนะลูกนะ เดี๋ยวครูอันนี้แป๊บเดียวลูกแป๊บหนึ่งนะลูก5 นาทีแป๊บหนึ่งพัสดุมาหน้าบ้านพอดีแป๊บหนึ่ง โอเคฟอง โอเค
ครับอาจารย์
โอเค
เริ่มเลยนะครับ
พี่ครับผม
อาจารย์เห็นสกรีนนะครับ
โอเคครับต้องทำเป็น full screen โอเค
Today our first group iPhone 13 Pro Max will present about water level rising. The member is me, Churajit Phumipichet, and my buddy is Sithipon Chaisena. Information first. Sea level can rise by two different mechanisms with respect to climate change. First, as the ocean warm due to an increasing global temperature, seawater expands, taking up more space in the ocean basin and causing a rise in water level. The second mechanism is the melting of ice over land, which then adds water to the ocean. Research by Ocean Service NOAA.nov. Worldwide sea level is rising because of climate change. Today, sea level is 10 to 20 centimeters or about 4 to 8 inches higher than it was a century ago. Because of climate change, over the 21st century, sea level is expected to rise 30 centimeters or 12 inches. If the amount of climate change is minimized, sea level will rise up to 1 meter, about 3 feet, if climate change is not controlled. Ocean water is warming and growing acidic. Warmer water is the shallow ocean have contributed to the death of about a quarter of the world's coral reefs in the last few decades. Many of coral animals die after weakened by coral bleaching, a process tied directly to warm water. Also, coral and other marine life find it more difficult to grow their shells and bones as seawater takes in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and become more acidic. Sea ice is shrinking, cause more warming. Each year, the amount of sea ice that cover the Arctic Ocean grow in the winter and then melt at the edge in the summer. But lately, warmer temperatures have caused more ice to melt in the summer and less ice to go in winter. The summer thickness of the sea ice is about half of it was in 1950. This is the graph show that the sea water level is rising since 1995 up to about 2020. Sea level rise is caused primarily by two factors related to global warming: the add water from melting ice sheet and glacier, the expansion of seawater as it warms. Sorry. Sea level rise is caused primarily by two factors related to global warming: the add water from melting ice sheet and glacier and the expansion of seawater as it warms. The first graph tracks the change in sea level since 1993 as observed by satellite. This graph is observed by satellite since 1993 up to now, 2022. The second graph derived from coastal tide gauge and satellite data show how much sea level changed from about 19,000 to 2018. Items with plus are factors that cause global mean sea level to increase, while minus are variable that cause sea level to decrease. These items are displayed at the time they are affecting sea level. And this is the graph of plus and minus. As you can see, minus is just about is very less on about 19,000 and go up with plus sign along the way to up to now 2022.
So in this slide show about sea level change in 1993 to 2020. Uh, the past and future sea level rise at the specific locations on land may be more or less than the global average due to the local factors such as ground setting, upstream flood control, erosion, regional ocean currents, and the weather the land is still rebounding from the compressive weight of the ice age glaciers. In the United States, the fastest rate of sea level rise are occurring in the Gulf of the Mexico from the mouth of the Mississippi westward, followed by the mid-Atlantic. Only in Alaska and a few places in the Pacific Northwest are sea level falling. Through that trend will reverse under high greenhouse gas emissions pathway. Next slide, please.
Oh, sorry.
This graph is show about global sea level rising graph. As you can see, the seasonal 3 month sea level estimates from Church and White in 2011 and light blue line, and University of Hawaii fast delivery sea level data in the dark blue. The value also as change in sea level in millimeters compared to the 1993 to 2008 average NOAA climate. This is from noaaclimate.gov. This based on the analysis and data from Philippine Thompson's University of Hawaii Sea Level Center. Next slide, please. And why the sea level matter? In the urban setting along coastline around the world, rising sea threaten infrastructure necessary for local job and regional industry. Road, bridge, subway, water supplies, oil and gas well, power plant, sewage treatment plant, landfill. The list is practically endless. Are all risks from the sea level rise. High breakout water level mean that deadly and destructive storms surge, such as those associated with Hurricane Katrina, Superstorm Sandy, and Hurricane Michael push farther inland than they once did. Higher sea level also means more frequent high tide flooding, sometimes called nuisance flooding, because it is generally deadly or dangerous, but it can disruptive and expensive. Next slide, please. And this one show you about how measuring the sea level. The sea level is measured by two main methods, the tide gauge and the satellite altimeter. Tide gauge stations from around the world have measured the daily high and low tides for more than the century using a variety of manual and automatic sensor. Using the data from score of stations around the world, scientists can calculate a global average and adjust it for a seasonal difference. Since the early 1990s, sea level has been measured from space using radar altimeter, which determine the height is the height of the sea surface by measuring the return speed and intensity of the radar pulse direct at to the oceans. The higher sea levels, the faster and stronger the return signal. Next slide, please. So this is the graph of observed sea level since the start of the satellite altimeter record in 1993 in the black line, plus with the independent estimate of the different contributions to sea level rise, the thermal expansion in the red line, and add water, mostly due to glacier melt in the blue line. Add together is the purple line. These separate estimates match the observed sea level very well. Next slide, please. So, for forecasting of the future sea level, in 2012, as the request of the U.S. climate change science program, NOAA scientists conduct a review of the research on global sea level rise protection. Their experts conclude that even with low-cost possible greenhouse gas emissions pathway, global mean sea level will rise at least 8 inch, about 0.2 meters above 1992 levels by 2100, with high rate of emissions. Sea level rise would be much higher, but was unlikely to exceed 66 feet higher than 1992 level. Both of low end and worst case possibility were received upward in 2017 following a review by the U.S. Interagency Sea Level Rise Task Force based on Daniel's scenario. Global sea level is very likely to rise at least 12 inch, around 0.3 meters above 2000 level by 2100, even on the low emissions pathway. On future pathway with the highest greenhouse gas emissions, sea level rise could be as high as 8.2 feet or around 2.5 meters above 2000 level by 2100. Next slide, please. So this is the future sea level graph. As you can see, we observe sea level from the tide gauge in the dark gray and satellite in the light gray from these years, with future sea level through 2100 under 6 possible feature scenario in the color in every color line. The scenario differ based on potential future rates of greenhouse gas emissions and different in the possible rates of glacier and ice sheet loss. This is from NOAA climate T.gov graph. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very good. So I will give an example like this. Good, good. I will share the screen first and I will explain maybe same for every group, the concept that you will further study for the next assignment that you will continue. It will be like this. However, this is very good. Thank you very much. I share screen first. Okay. Can you see my screen?
เห็นครับ
Okay. For every group, okay, this is example for the group of Phong. For example, each group will do like this for the next one, for the case study. Then you explain the mechanism and the global situation of the problem of Seawater level rising. Very good. Appreciated. The next one, you select one case concerning the problem of seawater level rising. I give as an example. Example may be in Venice, Italy. Then you study this project. First of all, we have to explain what is the problem of seawater rising in that area. It will be more specific information and more specific situation for only that place. Okay, just for an experience to see. And then we show the existing condition of that area, the problem that they have to solve, and then we show the methods that they propose to solve such problem. Within this method, then try to find out what are the concept, theoretical consideration, why they propose method 1, method 2, method 3 in order to solve the problem of seawater level rising. Because by doing this, we will understand how it can protect, how it can reduce the problem. With this kind of concept, maybe we can apply to our country. Because after this case study, we will select the case study in Thailand. And then we will propose our method for the last project. We will propose our method to solve such a problem in Thailand. Okay? Fong understand or not? Understand นะคะ
พอเข้าใจครับ
Okay, so step by step. So next, we select the case study first. Okay? Okay, thank you, Fong. So next one. Group number 2. Are you ready?
ครับอาจารย์
ครับผม number
พอดี
2
ว่าวันนี้ทาโร่ติดประชุมโปรเจกต์นะครับ เดี๋ยวผมพรีเซนต์คนเดียว เดี๋ยวผมแชร์สกรีนเลยครับ
โอเค ขอบคุณครับลูก
โอเคครับ เห็นหน้าจอใช่ไหมครับอาจารย์
ครับผม
ครับผม Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Today we are discussing about the topic that how can global warming have an effect on engineering projects. So to give you a brief understanding about global warming, global warming could have an effect on engineering projects because the changing in climate may increase the frequency or intensity of natural hazards, resulting in increased infrastructure damage. This include the elevating wind velocity and the mean sea level. So discuss about which kind of engineering projects suffer the most from global warming. It's mostly civil engineering projects because in civil engineering projects involve designing the infrastructure to be able to withstand the change in climate throughout the period. Okay, so how does global warming affect the infrastructure? Nowadays, global warming is already causing an expansion of deserts and a rise of sea levels. Impacts on infrastructure resulting from storms, floods, landslide, or rockfalls are already causing considerable uncertainty with respect to critical infrastructure. For example, traffic connections and also threatening industry and settlements. Moreover, impact on infrastructure also in turn affect energy and food supplies in our life. Okay, so talking about the new design that engineers need to consider before doing some project. How engineers design infrastructure to withstand the climate change? According to ASCE, resiliency is the key to the safest structure while designing the infrastructure. In addition, resiliency is the ability of an infrastructure system to adapt to and withstand various climate-related stressors. Okay, so for example, we are discussing about Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world. Okay, so with its height, how Burj Khalifa resists earthquakes and sandstorm. So the structure is composed of mechanical floors where outrigger walls connect the perimeter columns to the interior walling. And also, on the other hand, the perimeter columns can support the lateral resistance of the structure as well as the verticality of the column also helps with carrying the gravitational load. As a result, Burj Khalifa is exceptionally stiff in both lateral and torsional directions. Okay, so I'll give you a comparison of how global warming could affect the mean sea level. Wow. Okay, so this is a prediction. On the left is the picture if in the case that we reduce carbon emission, but on the right, if we continue to emit carbon at this rate we normally emit, we will suffer from the sea level rising as the picture predicted. And so this is predicted from the Climate Central Organization. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good, interesting. This is, I think that interesting for engineers as an overall. So maybe for the next time, the same as I suggest to the first group, we select one case study. Okay, like we select this one, anything that you want, you select one case, and then we have to describe why we have the problem, the existing condition, statement of problem. So we should have like we have the existing condition over there, and then we should show some data and the condition. Okay, and then after that we propose the method to solve the problem. If you want to study, for example, global warming that give the effect to the building, maybe we can emphasize to the building, and the solution maybe green building, something like that. If you want to study like a global warming on urban area, that we try to solve the problem to be smart city or green city, we can do that also. Anything that you are interested in, or maybe global warming on the infrastructure, the bridge, the suspension bridge, I don't know, depending on your interest. Okay, and then you describe, and then we show the method how to minimize, and then why this method can minimize, like a theoretical consideration. Okay, ได้ไหมลูก next
ครับ
time
ได้ครับ
okay
ครับ
good, thank you very much. Okay, next will be the group number 3. Group number 3, Red Panda. Red Panda อยู่ไหน
ครับอยู่ครับ
โอเค Red Panda.
อาจารย์เห็นนะครับ
Yes, very clear. Okay.
So today we are going to talking about rainfall for our topic. Rainfall is an amount of precipitation in the form of rain, water from clouds that descends onto the surface of Earth whether it is on land or water. It develops when air mass travel over warm water bodies or over wetland surfaces. Atmospheric turbulence and convection carries
ฮัลโหลครับ
the moisture or water
อ๋อ
vapor
ครับผม
upward
ปิด
into
ไมค์
air
ด้วยลู
masses
ก
where
รับ
they
ปิดไมค์ด้วยลูก โอเค
where they form clouds. The cloud eventually release in this water vapor which is dropped as rainfall.
ครับครับ
สุภาชัย
ครับ
ปิดไมค์ด้วยลูก สุภาชัยหรือธนพลที่รับโทรศัพท์อะลูกใครเอ่ย
ปิดแล้วครับ ปิดแล้วครับ
ขอบคุณลูก โอเค
next slide please. So here is the water cycle that show how the rain is produced.
อือหือ
So next slide please. And here is the type of rainfall. There are some three types of rainfall. That the first one is relief rainfall. Relief rainfall occurs when air has been blown over the seas and is then forced up over an area of highland. This causes the air to cool and the moisture in the air condenses and rain falls. The second one is frontal rainfall. Frontal rainfall occurs when warm air is forced to rise over cold air. The moisture in the warm air condenses as it cools, which causes cloud and rain. And the last one is convectional rainfall. Convectional rainfall occurs mostly in tropics where it is hot. When air is hot, rise and cool and condense, forming rain. If the air is hot enough, it rises really quickly and can cause thunderstorms. Next slide, please.เดี๋ยวอันนี้ผมพรีเซนต์ต่อไปพี่เขาอาจจะน่าจะยังคุยโทรศัพท์อยู่ครับ
ไม่ครับผม
โอเคครับ
อ่านไปแล้วครับ โดนปิดไมค์ครับ เดี๋ยวผมพูดใหม่ครับ
โดนปิดไมค์
อะ
รับ
ไรครับ
โทร
เมื่อ
ศัพท์
กี้
เสร็จหรือยังอ่ะ
ปิดไมค์
รับโทรศัพท์เสร็จหรื
อะไร
อยัง
นะครับ
รับโท
อ๋อ
ร
เส
ศั
ร็
พ
จ
ท์เสร็จหรือยัง
เสร็จนานแล้วครับ
ต่อ
ครับเอาใหม่นะครับ เมื่อกี้ผมพูดแล้วโดนปิดไมค์ Okay, this slide I'm going to talk about impact of rainfall in New Zealand. Heavy rainfall is one of the most frequent and widespread weather hazard to affect New Zealand. It is defined as rainfall greater than 100 millimeters in 24 hours. In New Zealand, heavy rainfall is relatively common. Often a significant amount of precipitation occurs in only a few hours, leading to severe flooding and landslide risks. So, on the right side is the example flooding in New Zealand. And next is the consequence of heavy rainfall. Consequence of heavy rainfall is including the floods, leaks to human life, damage to building and infrastructure, and loss of crops and livestock. Landslide, which threaten human life, disrupt transport and communication, and cause damage to building and infrastructure. On the right picture show that the consequence of rainfall that cause landslide in Zealand blocked the road for 3 months after the landslide. And thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good, good. You show the good point is the mechanism of the rainfall. That is a good point. Very good. However, I will comment to put more information a little bit on something like this. And then we can select the topic, the case study. For example, like the impact of rainfall. This is good. But what we want to show or what we want to emphasize is not only the impact of rainfall. We want to emphasize that impact of climate change on change of rainfall, and then consequently that change of rainfall will give more impact to such and such. Okay, for example, in this case, this is in New Zealand. If we say that it is defined as rainfall greater than 100 millimeter in 24 hours, this is no meaning if we don't say that this quantity is great compared to maximum rainfall that ever occurred in the past, which is only, for example, 50 millimeter in 24 hours. Okay, and you know this amount, this order of magnitude is small compared to Thailand. For the heavy rainfall in Thailand, in 24 hours, it can be up to 300 millimeter that cause a flood. So it changed from country to country. So if you want to compare something like this, we have to compare to historical record in the same study area. Then we have the evidence to show that climate change. Then the heavy rainfall occur. The heaviest one never occur in the past. Something like this. Do you get my point? You get my point?
ครับผม
Okay, and that is good. However, let's see something that group number one, group number one, that he already is shown something like you show some more results of research which you can find in the website like World Meteorological Organization WMO, or you can find from the web of NASA, something like this kind of the website. It will show change of the natural things like a change of rainfall. For example, we can comparison of the annual rainfall all over the world in the last 5 decades, the last 5 decades, in order to show that okay, we have the change in the annual rainfall from the last 10 years. You get my point?
ครับ
Okay, so we show something like that. We add more, a little bit more in this assignment, and then move to the other one. So the same as the other group, select case study of the heavy rainfall. And heavy rainfall, it means that change of rainfall, it never occur, right, due to climate change. One case study first. Okay นะคะ
โอเคครับ
Okay, thank you. So the group number 4
อาจารย์ครับ
ครับ
พอดีว่ามีเอกสารให้อาจารย์เซ็นเรื่อง rate limitation เดี๋ยวผมส่งไปในไลน์นะครับ
ครับผม
ขอบคุณมากครับ
ครับโอเค group number 4 มาไหม group number 4 ลูก Group number 4, are you here? Peace. Sanke.
Okay,
yeah.
Ajahn. I thought I was in
Sanke, you
group
are
5.
number 4.
Okay, Ajahn. I'm sorry.
Drought. Okay.
Share screen. Okay, so for our group YEET, we're gonna present about drought. Yeah, so we start with what is drought. Drought. Next one. Wait, it's okay. Okay, so we start with what is drought. Drought is a prolonged dry period in a natural climate cycle that can occur anywhere in the world. It is a slow onset disaster characterized by the lack of precipitation, resulting in a water shortage. Drought can have a serious impact on health, agriculture, economy, energy, and the environment. So next, we move for Sangre for drought in South Africa.
Okay. So we have come up with the drought in South Africa, Southern Africa. So here we can see the occurrence of drought. So, Ajahn, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, Ajahn. So here is the occurrence of drought. So here we can see that according to the International Fund for Agricultural Development, as cited by Benson, Thompson, and Clay in 1997, at least 60% of the sub-Saharan Africa is vulnerable to drought, and probably 30% is highly vulnerable. So this is the graph that shows the extreme drought in the Limpopo River Basin, which is a regular phenomenon, and it has been recorded for more than a century, at least intervals of 10 to 20 years, as shown here. So, and then we have the graph that is the example for Zimbabwe, that is located in Southern Africa. So from here, we can see that in the period of 1980 to 2000, here 1980 till 2000, the SADC South African region was struck by 4 major droughts. It can be notably seen in the seasons of 1982 to 1983, almost here 1982 to 1983. Then 1987 to 1988, and then 19.
Sanke, I cannot hear you.
I'm almost here, and then 1982. Sorry, Ajahn.
Okay.
Ajahn, can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can
I'm
hear.
sorry, Ajahn. I think there is some issues with the network. I'm sorry, Ajahn.
Never mind. Go on.
Okay, so from here we have the amplitudes. The amplitudes were 0.38, 0.35, and 0.28 standard deviation, respectively. Now, if I explain the impact of drought in South Africa, so drought has many impacts in various aspects. So the first thing we have come up with is the social impact. The social impact of drought in Southern Africa are food insecurity, migration, employment, and then the decreased animal health. So the social impact, the drought can negatively affect all 4 dimensions of food security. This covers here namely food availability, access, utilization, and stability. The economic loss to livestock production in KwaZulu-Natal because of the 2014 till 2016 drought is estimated. Yes, Ajahn.
Yeah, you want to say the impact, right? The impact, right?
Yeah, Ajahn.
Yeah, change the slide.
Yes, Ajahn. Impact.
Change
I
the
already changed the slide. I'm sorry. Ajahn, can you see the next slide?
I can see in my iPad, but your friends cannot see, I think. For me, no problem. I can see in my
I
iPad.
don't know, like. Oh, Ajahn, I will stop presenting and then present it again.
Never mind, never mind. So I show the slide. So no, do not worry, do not worry. So I can
ส่วน
just
อา
slide.
จารย์ผมแชร์ให้ไม่ได้เพราะผมอยู่ข้างนอกครับ ขอโทษด้วยครับ
Okay. So Sanke, I show you. You want to say something like this, right, Sanke?
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Now I share the screen now.
Oh, okay, Ajahn.
Okay? Can you
Oh,
see?
okay, Ajahn. I cannot see, Ajahn.
I go back. This is the thing that you want to talk about, right?
Yes, Ajahn. Yes,
Yes.
Ajahn. Thank you so much, Ajahn.
Okay.
I'm really sorry for the inconvenience.
Never mind. Go on.
ขอโทษนะครับอาจารย์
So we have the social impacts. This is the social impacts that the researchers have found in food insecurity. I mean, in Southern Africa due to the drought. So the first, we have the food insecurity, and then the increased poverty, then the migration, and then the unemployment, and then the decreased animal health. So the drought can negatively affect all four dimensions of food security, namely food availability, access, utilization, and stability. So the economic loss to livestock production in KwaZulu-Natal because of the 2014-2016, there has been a huge drought in the year 2014 till 2016. So due to this drought, the livestock production was estimated to be more than the loss of livestock production was estimated to be more than 13 billion, which is a huge loss. Drought is also associated with poverty. As we all know what poverty is, it's related with the hunger or the inavailability of the food, then the migration and high levels of unemployment among rural farmers. South Africa is projected to experience huge decreases in agricultural productivity due to drought and other climate changes related natural disasters. Reduced agricultural productivity will negatively affect food supply that will result in increased unemployment and poverty. So the next, I will explain the graph Ajahn, the social impact graph Ajahn. Yeah. Here we have the graph that is the prevalence of food inadequacy. So first thing, what is prevalence of food inadequacy? Prevalence of food inadequacy, it is the state or it is conceptually analogous to the prevalence of undernourishment food, which is calculated with using caloric threshold to a higher level by using a physical activity level. So in this graph, it was research. It was a research based on the prevalence of food inadequacy among Northern Cape. Northern Cape farm, it is located in Southern Africa. So the prevalence of self-reported hunger, it varies greatly throughout the year. As we can see in the graph, The graph, it shows 7 months, that is in the year 2016 and 2017, when the prevalence of food deficiency was relatively low. That is less than 20%, and then the 5 months when it was relatively high, that is more than 20%. Summer harvest season, February and March, was by far the lowest prevalence, only 10% of the sample. Households with insufficient food, on the other hand, peaked during the non-farming months of fall and winter. As we can see in the graph, there is April, May, June, and August, all having a similar incidence between 24 and 27%. For unknown causes, the percentage dropped below 20% in July. In January, there was also an increase in self-reported hunger. Okay, Ajahn. So now, if I explain the economic impact, drought in southern Africa has also an impact on economic impact. This economic impact, it covers the following. The first one is livestock loss. Due to the drought, it will cause loss in the livestock. It will also cause loss in the crop, because due to drought there won't be enough water supply for the farming of crops. Then if there is no much crop, then there won't be much income for the farmers, because if there is less production in crops, then the farmers cannot do the business regarding crops. Then there will be decrease in livestock and land prices, and then there will be increase in food prices, Ajahn. So here, as you all can see, the graphs, these graphs show the level of drought impact on business in Southern Africa. So due to the drought that has ravaged the Free State province, that is the 80% of enterprises have lost more than half of their workplace. 87% of these companies lost more than half of their income. Most of these firms estimated that it would take them at least 6 months to recover if there was a lot of rain. So the fruit and vegetable industries will not be able to recover in less than 6 months. After rains, almost all informal companies can recover after 6 months. So from here, we can see that drought is a natural calamities, and it has brought a huge impact in Southern Africa regarding social as well as economic impact. So environmental impact will be discussed by my friend. Okay, thank you so much, Ajahn.
Thank you.
So for environment impact, so first we have loss of grazing land, loss of water, deterioration of water quality, contamination of drinking water, increase in temperature, and lost vegetation. So as you can see in the graph, on the red line is on the global, and on the I think orange or some yellow line is South Africa. As you can see, global is just increased in temperature from 19,000 to 2020. It just increased just by from 0 to what, to like almost 1, like around 0.7, but compared to South Africa, is keeping increasing from 19,000 to 2020, increased by 2. Like it's a lot from there compared to the global. Thank you.
So that a little bit more concerning what you explained. Good information. However, if you can put more information on what you're talking about, right, Sanke? You explain a lot of things here. Okay.
Okay, Ajahn. So I have to put the information here, right, Ajahn, in the slides? Okay, Ajahn.
The slide, more
Okay,
information. Otherwise, next time when we see the slide, we don't know what we are talking about, right? But the information that you talk is good. Good.
Okay,
So
Ajahn.
if we can put more like to remind us what we are talking about here, and the impact is okay. And now something like this also, when we are talking about like an impact of level on business, something like this, it's good information, but I would like to remind you that some definition we have to put on. Otherwise, we don't know the definition. Like y-axis here is the impact on business, and they have something like the level, right? We don't know what does it mean.
Yes.
The level 1, what does it mean? The level, wow, 11, what does it mean? The meaning, because in order to do something, we will have the like a calculation, right? Or the
Okay.
formula, yeah, something like that. Then we will understand what does it mean, the physical meaning of that. And this one for the last slide, that พรหมพลใช่ไหมลูก พรหมพลใช่ไหม your friend
ใช่ครับพรหมพลครับ
พรหมพล that we're talking about here is you have to find the relationship between this one and this one. This one we want to show that we have a change in temperature, or this one is like a global warming. It's good in terms of global warming comparison between the average global warming in the world and what about the global warming in South Africa. That one is a good point. Another point, when we showing something like this, sometimes it will be nice if we can explain what is happened, because we have a change in declining of the graph both in Africa, right, and in the global, right? Something happened. What happened here? So when I see this graph, I am curious. So what happened, right? The first thing, okay? But after this, it's okay. Graph is going on. Another thing is that we talk about environmental impact of the loss of this one. What about the data that you want to show here? What is the evidence? Loss of water. So what is the evidence that you want to show? Deterioration of water quality, something like this. Okay? So when we talk about this, what about the relationship between these two graphs, right? So this one will give consequence to something in between before you are going to this one, right? We have something in between. And when we talk about this one, so we have to show some evidence. Okay? So this one is okay, only increase in temperature. We can explain it here, right? Right, พรหมพล okay, no?
Okay.
You understand, right?
ได้ครับ เดี๋ยวผมจะเอาไปปรับใช้ครับแล้วเดี๋ยวใส่เพิ่มครับ ได้ครับ
Okay. And okay, and พรหมพล next time you select one case study, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. So the last group of today, right? Group S.
ครับอาจารย์
ครับผม are you ready?
ครับ
Okay.
แชร์สไลด์แป๊บหนึ่งนะครับ
ครับ
ขึ้นไหมครับอาจารย์
เห็นครับลูกชัดเจน
โอเค
ทำ full screen ให้เพื่อนเลยลูกจะได้ชัด
ผมหยุดเปิดใช้ใน iPad อะไม่รู้ทำยังไง
ๆอ๋อไม่เป็นไรลูกได้เห็น
ได้ครับ
เห็นโอเค
ครับ
go on
Okay, flooding and climate change. Everything you need to know. A growing number of community, both coastal and inland, are finding themselves underwater. Extreme weather, sea level rising, and other climate change impacts are increasingly to blame. What is flood? A flood is an accumulation of water over normally dry land. It's caused by overflow in inland water or tidal water, or by unusual accumulation of water from source such heavy rain or dam or levee bridge.
This is a major type of flooding. The river flooding like this in the picture one, the flash flooding, man-made flooding, coastal flooding, urban flooding, and river flood. River flooding, this occur when river or stream overflow its natural bank and inundate normally dry land. Most common in late winter and early spring river flooding can result from heavy rainfall, rapidly melting snow or ice jam. Coastal flooding. More than 8.6 million Americans live in area susceptible to coastal flooding, which happen when wind from coastal storm, such as a hurricane or nor'easter, push a storm surge a wall of water from the ocean into the land. Storm surge. Flash flooding, the quick rising flood, are most often caused by heavy rain over a short period. Flood flood can happen anywhere outer low-lying area with poor drainage are particularly vulnerable. Urban flooding is a flash flooding or coast flooding and river flooding can occur in urban area, but the term urban flooding refers specifically to flooding that occur when rainfall, not an overflowing body of water, overwhelm the local stormwater drainage capacity of the densely populated area. They happen when rainfall run off its channel from road, parking lot, building, and other improvised surface to storm drain and sewer that cannot handle the volume. Flooding cause many factors can go into the making a flood. They are weather event, heavy or prolonged rainstorm surge, suddenly snow melt, and then there are the human driven element, including how we manage our waterway and alterations make the land. How does the climate change lead to the flooding? These are some of key ways climate change increase flood lines. Heavier precipitation, more frequent hurricane, high sea level, flooding consequence, flood preparation. And this is how to protect your home flooding.
Good.
Yep.
Interesting. This is now the detail how you protect. Good, Purin. You work alone. I'm appreciated. So I think that a little bit more in this presentation, a little bit more concerning about the information of the frequency of flood or damage of floods all over the world. Like you see the style. The first style is good. The cause of flood is appreciated, very good. But if you can add more information, the style like the first group that found it, something like the result of some research showing statistics of the occurrence of flood all over the world during the last 50 years ago. We can see the change that nowadays we have more occurrence of flooding occurred, and we can see we can be convincing that because of climate change we have more and more flood occur frequently, more and more, something like that. Do you got my point? Okay. And then good. Next project, next assignment, you search and try to select one case study. It will be more specific. then we will understand. You have a better understanding of this kind of phenomena. One case study. What happened? So this study area, we have more and more flood. What is the cause of that flood in that area? And what are the methods that we propose to prevent flood? And then after that, we will come back to Thailand. We select the case in Thailand, and then we can have our own imagination, our own concept. How can we do? ขอบคุณครับปุริน Good, very good. So everyone, you have presented everything, right?
ครับยังไม่ได้
ครับ
พรีเซนต์เลยครับ
ว้ายขอโทษ กลุ่มไหน
ผมฮอกวอตส์ครับ
ว้ายข้ามไปได้ยังไงปกติให้เป็นกลุ่มแรก มันใส่เลขกันมาผิดนะเนี่ยทำให้ครูงงอ่ะ
จริงๆแล้ว
แต่ละคน
ผมกลุ่ม 2 ครับเดี๋ยวว่าถ้านับเรียบร้อย
โอเค
ไม่เป็นไร
please share screen โอ้ขอโทษลูก everyone listen to me the group number 1 is iPhone 13 next time you put number 1 the group number 2 is Hogwarts I'm sorry the group number 3 is Yeet group number 4 is Sangke peace group number 5 Red Panda and group number 6 is S okay ว้ายใครเป็นโควิด
ชิคาเล่ครับ Okay,
Wow.
so today we will present by two people which มีชัยพิพัฒน์ผลสิริการ and ภูสนะบัญชาวัฒนะนะครับอาจารย์
โอเคครับลูก
So today we will talk about impact of climate change about the animal ครับผม
อือฮึ
So the first one is rising in temperatures. The rising in temperature risk destabilizing
ขอโทษที ต้องส่งไฟล์มาให้ครูใหม่อ่ะ ไฟล์ที่ส่งมาให้ครูเนี่ยมันเป็นอันเก่าอ่ะลูก
มันคือผมเพิ่มไปด้านหลังอะครับอาจารย์
อ๋อโอเคโอเคลูก
หรือว่าคราวหลังจะให้ทำเป็นสไลด์ใหม่ไปเลยนะครับ
ไม่ไปลูกได้ไองง โอเค go on look go on
ครับผม rising in temperature risk destabilizing the balance between wildlife and their ecosystem
อือฮึ
as and adapt to changing warming pattern, usually by blooming earlier or shifting to cooler locations. The wildlife that has adapted to them will be forced to face the new environments. Some species will struggle to find nutritious enough food to fit their existing good biome. And pollinators, for example, must feed from flowers that are blooming earlier in the year. Other animals may find their habitats are no longer able to support their biology.
Okay, so the example that affect that this animal affect from the temperature rising. This is the paiga. Paiga is the high mountain ecosystem that they live in the cool place and moist, which they living in the high mountain. So after the rising temperature, the temperature in mountain are higher, so they cannot live it anymore. So it some are disappear to live to the new place, but some can't escape from the mountain ครับผม so from the graph the number of paiga is decreasing in 1999 and they are increasing in 2005 นะครับเพราะว่าbecause the government are helping them in the Oregon and Nevada. This source is from Oxford Academy Journal of Mammalogy and National Wildlife Federation ครับ and this is the example of the animal that affect from the rising temperature, but it didn't affect it to it directly, but the rising temperature is the factor of them to date. Back in the spring of 2015, it have an event that the Saiga antelope have died more than 200,000 in the same time in Kazakhstan. And the scientists and research published in 2018 that they know that the bacteria called Pasteurella maltodextri type B is living in the almost of all Saiga antelope, but usually this bacteria is not be a problem with it. But after the rising of temperature, this bacteria grow too stronger and is overwhelming the animal. So now Saiga antelope have about 124,000 remaining, dropped from 1 million in 1990. This source is from Science Advance in January 2018. And this is the research about the ice sheet in Arctic, which they separate into the area like in the map that you see. The CSSB like this is a name of the area. So they're studying about the effect from the sea sheet that melting that affect to the polar bear. As you see the right hand side graph is ice is melting by the time the research in about 1980 to 2010, and they conclude that the loss of sea ice is affect to ability to find food of the polar bear, and so they have less time to hunt the prey.
The second effect is flooding and loss of habitats. Due to increasing precipitation from climate change, is contributing to more frequent and extreme weather events such as flooding. The higher frequency of flooding has detrimental effect on wildlife because they can destroy key pieces of ecosystem and habitats. There is the obvious destructive effect that flood have on the environment, such as flood land and burn forests, but they also have other lasting effects like severe water pollution. Speedy flood water spend little time in a purification place, right in the ground or wetland, so the surface flow doesn't lose the soil particulate pollutant it has picked up. Their speed also erodes stream bank and soil surface. The picture shows that the flash flood in Australia.
Okay, so the next one is the sea level rising. So the sea level rising is a warming climate that causes seawater to expand and ice over land to melt. So both of them is cause the rise in sea level. For example, the climate change will affect coral reef ecosystem to the sea level, shade of the frequency and intensity of tropical storm. In the local area, sea level is rising is the factor that affect to the coral reef photosynthesis to grow by rising of the coral temperature acidity in sea. This is the bleaching in coral reef. The bleaching occurs when the warm water causes the colorful algae that provide food for coral to release chemicals that are toxic to their host, and it spread out So this is the graph of forming breaching great barrier reef นะครับ in the coral in Florida to India, which is cause the coral reef to bleaching. I think that's it for our
Thank you
presentation.
very much. Your topic is interesting, but since you and we are not in the field of animal, so it is difficult, right? What do you think? If you are interested in this topic, yes, we can further study. But if you want to change, like an impact on something infrastructure, you can change. What do you think? You still want to do this one?
งั้นเดี๋ยวลองคุยกับเพื่อนในกลุ่มก่อนได้ไหมครับอาจารย์
Never mind. It's depend on
แล้ว
you.
เดี๋ยวแจ้งในไลน์อีกที
Yes, it depends on you. For example, if we are interested in this topic, it's okay. But since we are not the experts in this kind of thing, it's hard for me to suggest you to do technically. Never mind. For example, you show us the last slide. Okay. For example, depend on you. This is the elective, as you like. It's not serious. It's not like the topic that we have to register as a engineer, a professional engineer. So it's a elective subject. Don't serious. Never mind. So I show you something like this. For example, this one. If you want to further study, this is not enough to show the impact of the temperature on the animal. This is just show firstly the change in temperature of the Great Barrier Reef, right? Because the x-axis is time, y-axis is temperature, and the range is very, very wide range. If we want to show something like this, it should be accompanied with the map. Where is the measurement? Like this is the measurement of the global average temperature recorded in 2014 to 2015. Okay, and this one coral reef from Florida to India. So we have to show the location. Where is it? Right? Then we have like a more understanding of the phenomena. And this is only the first step to show that we have a high temperature, higher. And another thing, this kind of thing, now we are in 2022, so we should have something a little bit more update than this. Okay, never mind. Another thing is that what is the effect from this? For example, the number of fishes in the area. What is how can we measure the fishes in the area? We have the sampling method. How many fish per cubic meter in which area, something like that. Okay, so we can prove by the result of some research that okay, in this area we have less in the, we can show this graph like this one. This is another axis, like the number of fish. What kind of fish? I don't know. In the area, so it is decreasing like this, right? So something like this to show that okay, we have the impact of the temperature on the animal. Okay. interesting. If you want to go on, okay, no problem. So next time you select the case study. Okay, ได้ไหมครับลูก
ได้ครับผม
Okay, thank you very much นะคะ everyone. So questions? If no, see you next time.
อาจารย์ครับอาทิตย์หน้าเราต้องทำยังไงนะครับ
อาทิตย์หน้าเป็น case study next time. So you select one case study. For example, Fong, you can select Venice like a case study. You know, we have the problem of seawater level rising in Maldives. Oh no, in Venice, in Maldives also. And they have a lot of them huge project that propose a lot of methods to solve the problem. You see เข้าใจหรือเปล่าลูก
ครับเข้าใจครับ
Okay, so something like everyone something like, but you just select the case study and you do as much as you can. No need to complete, but the idea you can further do it another week. You come to me next time, at least case study, the name of the case study. Okay, and a little bit information concerning that case study. Suppose I give you example of from study of the Venice. They have the problem of sea water level rising. Okay, so you have the study area. You have the problem. And you have the method to solve the problem. What did they do? They design many things to solve this problem. And then later on, we can go in depth why they select this method, which theory they use, something like that. We can add more. So you come like a framework of your case study. Okay? That you select which case and then we can discuss. Don't worry. It can be incomplete. Never mind. At least what is the case study? Let's see together. Okay? ได้ไหมลูก
โอเคครับครับอาจารย์
โอเคนะเด็กๆ no worry look you select the case study first. Okay, and then we can select that is good, not good. No? Okay. No problem right now. Then see you next week นะคะเด็ก
Thank you อาจารย์
ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดี
ๆ
ครับ
ขอบคุณครับอาจารย์
เลิกสวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับลูก see you